What's going on, Husker Nation? Welcome back in for another episode. Today we're talking about the pipeline. The key to Nebraska's success in 2025 and 2026 starts up front, as it does every single year. This is a big year for offensive line coach Donovan Raiola. This is his fourth year as the offensive line coach at Nebraska. This is the first year where he's truly going to have primarily guys that he recruited, he developed, that are going to be on the starting offensive line and in the rotation on the offensive line. Now we're really going to see the fruits of that labor. We're going to see how much he's watered the bamboo, as he said in his press conference last week. Before we dive into it, though, I want to give a special shout out to some of our subscribers, some of the most vocal, some of the most engaged ones. We'll throw them up here. Pit Snipe, Jim, Justin, who just won a gift card for winning our March Madness bracket that we did on our channel, Michael and Genghis Khan. I'm going to do this every week when I record on Fridays. Now, this video will be posted on Saturday, but I want to shout out a handful of our people in our community every single week, just so that you know that we see the comments, the likes, and all that stuff from you guys. We appreciate everybody who tunes in. That's why I always say thank you for watching, because we appreciate it so much. It helps our channel get out to the masses, and that's what we're trying to accomplish here. Now, the reason why you're here is the offensive line. So we'll dive into it. We did a little bit of that on Tuesday. If you haven't checked that out from our Tuesday live show, go on back a few days, check that out. Every Tuesday, we're live at 6 p.m. Central. So Henry Letofsky has the ability to be our starting left guard or our starting right tackle. He is working at right tackle in the spring and some at left guard, but primarily at right tackle. He's got the body of a tackle, 6'6", 320 pounds. He was our starting right guard last season. Now, if we didn't have Bryce Benhart last year, Henry probably would have slid out to right tackle. Micah Mazuka would have been our starting right guard. That's just my read on it. Now, the reason why I think he could be our starting left guard is because the emergence of this gentleman at center, Justin Evans Jenkins. Nebraska recruited him from New Jersey to be our future center. Now, he saw the field early as a left guard. Then Nebraska brought in Ben Scott, had 2 good years with Ben Scott at center. Now that job opened up. Justin makes the natural transition to where he was recruited to be. The good thing about him being a little stout, because we know he is a little bit shorter, right? 6'1", 315 pounds. As a shorter center, he actually has a great advantage, because as soon as he snaps the ball, he can get right up underneath those shoulder pads, great leverage, drive his defender back. That's why I'm not worried about him being a shorter center at 6'1". Now, the snap issues we've heard about need to be fixed, and they will be. Coach Holgerson said they will be fixed. There's a little bit of snap issues, but Justin Evans Jenkins clearly has kind of got a stranglehold on that starting center spot. So that opens up the left guard. That's where I think Henry Letofsky could slide in if they deem him a better fit at left guard than right tackle. Nebraska has so many options at right tackle, it's ridiculous. Comparatively speaking, their options at left tackle are substantially limited. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. Who could be an option at right tackle? Teddy Prochazka. The difference between him and Justin's is about 9 inches. Teddy Prochazka is a monster human, 6'10", 315 pounds. Now, Teddy has been back-to-back years of season-ending injuries. Huge red flag, huge concern. Can he stay healthy? Also, does he stay at the left side? Because he's been a left tackle his entire career at Nebraska. That's why I think he might stay at left tackle. That's my read, at least. Because the depth is so limited at left tackle. Outside of Elijah Pritchett, there's not a lot. We'll get to that here in just a minute. Gunnar Gatula. I think this is our, at least my read, is he's going to be our starting right tackle going into next season. He's going to slide over from the left side, go take over that right tackle spot. 6'6", 310 pounds, coming off winter surgery. He'll be back come probably that first week of summer, I would say, right after spring ball ends, that first week of summer time frame. Gunnar Gatula is going to be an absolute stud. We saw what he could do as a redshirt freshman. Now we're going to see what he can do as he continues to develop, as Coach Donovan Raiola waters the bamboo. Sam Sledge, who I thought would be Nebraska's starting center this year, could slide to left guard, at least for the time being, and be a backup center to Justin Evans-Jenkins. The reason I say that is because he's a guy that has the talent to see some reps, whether that be at center or whether that be at left guard. 6'4", 310 pounds. His dad's a legacy at Nebraska. Sam Sledge has a lot of talent. He's going into year 3 at Nebraska, and this is why I say he could play left guard. Is Justin Evans-Jenkins has 2 more years left, I believe. Yeah, he's a junior, so he has 2 more years left. You want to get Sam Sledge some reps. Let him see the field at guard, even if he's not starting. Let him get reps against Division I offensive linemen or defensive linemen. And then when Justin Evans-Jenkins leaves, he can slide over the same pattern or the same path that Justin Evans-Jenkins had, you could do with Sam Sledge. Now, my favorite offensive lineman, maybe my favorite prospect from Coach Rule's first class, Jason Machacek. If you haven't done so yet, I'm going to tell you to do 2 things, okay? Buy your stock on Jason Machacek right now, okay? Whatever it's priced at, buy 50,000 shares. I don't care what the price is. He is going to be a stud offensive lineman for Nebraska. And the second thing here, if you've never done it, go watch his high school tape, particularly his offensive line tape, because he played both ways. You're going to see a 6'2", 305-pound wrecking ball pulling from the left guard and blowing up people constantly. Jason Machacek is super athletic, great lateral quickness, very aggressive in run blocking, dominant, physically dominant offensive lineman. Nebraska's had him playing offensive line, defensive line. Now he's back on the offensive line. That's where they want him to be. He's going to be a dude. He may not start this year. I hope he does, because he's one of my favorite prospects. He may not start, but he will be in a rotation. That's my projection. I've said that for the last month and a half. A guy that I think Nebraska still has time to develop would be Brock Knutson, another right tackle prospect, 6'7", 310-pound sophomore from Scotts Bluff, Nebraska. He did appear on Nebraska depth chart. I think it was most of the season, at least, at right tackle. Very physical in the run game. Still working on his pass pro. And Justin has said this too when we talk about high school offensive linemen. Other than the few, and there's a very, very slim few, like Jordan Seaton at Colorado, for example. But even he had his struggles early. Most offensive linemen are just so much bigger and physically more dominant than the defensive linemen they're going against. And so they don't have to really worry as much about technique as just being more physical than the person across from them. But when you get to college, it's a totally different story. When you get to college, there's going to be guys that are just as big, just as fast, just as physical as you are. And so when they get to college, it takes 2 or 3 years to learn those skills, to work on footwork, to work on hand placement, stuff like that. That's way more advanced than I can comprehend. So that's like, and I'm just kind of just a grand scheme thing. Like when I don't see an offensive lineman play for 2 years, I don't get concerned, because I know that's like the one position for sure that takes time. Like Coach Raiola said, water the bamboo. Tyler Knack is another option at right tackle. Now, the way I see Tyler Knack is he played right tackle at, I believe he was at Utah before he came to Nebraska. He was at right tackle. And then he transferred to Nebraska, and we had him at right tackle. And then I believe it was 2 years ago, we moved him to right guard. And that really seems to be where his home is. At 6'6", 330 pounds, he has the ability to take over for Rocco Spindler after he leaves next year. His experience at right tackle could give him the option to go back outside if Nebraska needed him to be a right tackle. But the way I see it, he's going to be our right guard, backup right guard for this year. and then he'll move to right tackle. Who else do we got? I got the Huskers roster pulled up. So I'm literally just scrolling through this and then just off the dome giving you everything I know. Turner Corcoran, left guard, right tackle. Those were his two spots. I think that's where he plays, left guard or right tackle. I personally don't think he's going to be a starter at either. He very well could be a starter at left guard. Again, it's just he's got more experience than some of the other options at left guard and right tackle. If you recall, early in Bryce Benhart's career, he was really struggling at right tackle. And I believe it was the Michigan game. Yeah, I think it was the Michigan game because that's when Teddy Prohaska got his first start. They put Teddy at left tackle, and then they swung Turner Corcoran to right tackle. And Turner looked really good at right tackle. He did. A lot better than he has at left tackle. But I think he's more of an interior offensive lineman. His footwork is more of an interior offensive lineman. That's where he could succeed his final year at Nebraska. Grant Bricks, on the other hand, I think is going to be an option at left tackle, probably in a reserve role, but he could be a left guard as well. He was on the depth chart as a left guard for the bowl game. 6'6", 310 pounds, consensus four-star recruit in high school, was like a top 70 overall on all three major recruiting services. We don't count ESPN because they suck. From Logan, Iowa. And the big thing is Logan, Iowa is a tiny town, and you're not playing the best competition week in and week out. So he's definitely needed a little bit more time to develop, but he has all the skills and all the tools that you need to be a really good offensive tackle. I think left tackle is going to be where his home is going into next season. Gibson Pyle, he's a true interior offensive lineman. I thought there was a potential that he saw the field last year. He's making waves. Gibson Pyle was a consensus four-star recruit. He was like a top 150 overall player, consensus, high school All-American, 6'5", 320 pounds. He's from Houston, Texas. He's got a chance to push some people to climb the depth chart. I don't think he makes like the top two on the interior offensive line because he's going to be a left guard or a right guard. But he's a name to keep tabs on. He's doing very, very good right now in spring. Very good. He's making some noise. Preston Taumua, another interior offensive line target, left guard, right guard. He's doing very good. The big thing with Preston Taumua is just like any of these younger linemen. They got to learn their technique. They have to hone their craft. They have to really learn leverage, hand placement, stuff like that. He's probably a year away. But from what I hear, Preston Taumua is an absolute dude. He's going to be a force on Nebraska's offensive line for years to come. Same thing with Houston Kahania Torres, the true freshman, also from Hawaii, just like Preston Taumua. He's working at center and guard. Houston Kahania Torres is a stud. He was the number one player in Hawaii, just like Preston Taumua. 6'3", 295 pounds. He has the potential to be like a 4-game redshirt guy, like those early games, like Houston Christian, where you're not playing very good teams and you should win by 30. I would not be surprised if you see guys like Houston, Preston, and Gibson all on the field, Sam Sledge as well, for those games. Elijah Pritchett, left tackle. He's your bookend left tackle, 6'6", 310 pounds, transfer from Alabama. I believe he was like a very high 4-star, borderline 5-star recruit. I have heard he's been physically dominant. He has been everything they thought he could be. Elijah Pritchett is quietly going to be a damn good player for Nebraska. Sometimes a change of scenery is all you need. Sometimes that's all you need to flip that switch. And keep in mind, Alabama didn't know where they wanted him either. They had him at left, they had him at right, back to left, back to right. Nebraska knows they want him as a left tackle. And that's got to be good for his confidence, knowing they want me and they want me to play left tackle and know where I'm going. And the last person we're going to talk about is no surprise at all. Rocco Spindler is a physical freak, dominating in the run game, great pass pro. He's becoming a true leader on the offensive line, despite being the newer guy on the offensive line. He's taken a big leadership role. Rocco Spindler is going to be a dude. That's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend, everybody.